Hello and welcome to Clasihandmade. Today is Stitch and Pattern Tuesday. So today we will be doing part 2 of the leaf poncho. Last week we did the solid part and the leaf. This week we will do the mesh part and continue on the leaf. So I did 29 rows because I added 4 extra rows. The pattern said to end at row 25. Repeat row 7 to 10 until you get to row 25. But I added, sorry, I added 4 extra rows, so I'm at row 29. So you can continue in your same color or you can join. So I'm at my last row. And I'm going to slip stitch to join. I'm going to slip stitch into my chain, top of my chain 3 to join my round. So if you didn't added any extra rows, you should be at row 25. And so this is where you're going to add your mesh part. So you slip stitch to join your row. At this time, if you want to add a contrasting color from row 25 to row 34, you can do so. So I'm going to slip stitch, join, and end my white part here. So I'm going to cut, and I'm going to end my part here. So I'm going to join my contrasting color, and I'm using this green. So I will use Willow Guppy yarn, and I got this Willow Guppy yarn in a wool bag that I bought from Willow. This ball came into the wool grab bag, so I'm using this. So I'm going to join my yarn. So I'm going to join my yarn. You could join it. I'm going to join it here. So I join my yarn, and I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. If you did not cut your yarn, you can just slip stitch into the next DC and chain 3 and continue. So the 3 chain is counted as your first double crochet. So you keep your ends and you're going to crochet over that. So you're going to put 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 double crochet. So you're going to it's going to look like that. You're going to chain 2, skip 1, and double crochet into the chain 2 space, 1 double crochet into the next double crochet, a V-stitch into the next double crochet. So remember, the V-stitch is 1 double crochet, chain 3, 1 double crochet into 1 double crochet right here. Then you put 1 double crochet into the next double crochet after you finish making your V-stitch, and then 1 double crochet into the chain 2 space. You chain 2, skip 1 double crochet, and double crochet into each of the next 3 double crochet. chain 2, skip 1. From row 25 to row 34, you're going to do chain 2 after you finish your leaf pattern. You're going to chain 2. Here's where the mesh part come in. You're going to chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1, and double crochet into the next. So you continue doing that for as many times as you need to. Chain 2, skip 1, double crochet into the next double crochet. And we're going to do this until we get all the way around to the chain 2 space of the next leaf. So you see you're doing the mesh. So you're going to continue doing chain 2, skip 1, double crochet until you get to this chain 2 space here next to the next leaf, and I'll meet you back when I finish my chain 2 spaces. So I'm finished my chain 2, skip 1, double crochet, and I'm coming up to my next leaf pattern. So you're going to chain 2, skip 1, and put 1 double crochet into the chain 2 space, then chain 2, skip 1 double crochet, and put 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 double crochet. So it will look like this. So you skip that double crochet right there in the chain, in the leaf pattern. So after you finish doing your 3 double crochet, 1 double crochet into each stitch on the leaf, you're going to chain 2, skip this double crochet right here, and double crochet into the chain 2 space. Then you're going to double crochet into the next double crochet, a V-stitch into the next double crochet. So 1 double crochet, chain 3, 1 double crochet into the same stitch. Then into the next stitch, you're going to put 1 double crochet into the chain 2 space. You're going to put 1 double crochet, chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1 double crochet, and put 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 double crochet. So we have our 3 double crochet, chain 2, skip 1, and double crochet into the chain 2 space. And from here on out, you're going to chain 2, skip 1 until you get to the beginning chain. And you should be on round 26 unless you added some extra rows. So you chain 2, skip 1, chain 2, skip 1. So go ahead and repeat that until you get to the end of the round of round 26, and I'll meet you back when you get to the end of round 26. Before you join, I'll meet you back. So I'm at the end of round 26. I chain 2, and I'm going to put 1 double crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 2, skip 1 double crochet, and slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 to join. So sometimes I get such a hard time getting that needle in there, but go ahead and slip stitch, So for round 26, we finished round 26. On round 27, you're going to slip stitch into the middle. We have 3 double crochet here. Slip stitch into the next double crochet, but make sure you slip stitch into the stitch so it won't shift. So like that, and I'm right at the top of that chain, of that double crochet, sorry, and I'm going to chain 3. 1, sorry guys, I'm going to chain 5 for this round 27. Chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to skip 1 double crochet, and I'm going to double crochet into the chain 2 space, then 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, into the chain 3 space of the previous V stitch. You're going to put a V stitch into the V stitch. So you 1 double crochet, chain 3, a double crochet. So put a V stitch into the V stitch. So your piece would look like that. Are we going to continue? So you're going to put 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, then 1 double crochet into chain 2 space, chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1, and double crochet into the next, chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1 double crochet, and double crochet into the chain 2 space. So we finish up this leaf here, you can see right here, and we're starting a new set of leaves right here. From here on out, you're going to just keep chaining 2, skip 1 double crochet, so chain 1, 2, sorry, I lost my stitches, chain 2, skip 1 double crochet, and chain 2, and you're going to repeat this until you get all the way to the next leaf pattern, just chaining 2 and skipping 1. So you chain 2, you skip 1 double crochet, and you double crochet into the next chain 2 space. So you're making a mesh on this round 27 until you get to the chain 2 space before your leaf pattern. And I'll meet you back when I finish, when I get to my chain 2 space on towards my next leaf pattern. So you go ahead and chain 2, skip 1 until you get to your chain 2 space before the leaf pattern. So I'm at my chain 2 space before the leaf. I'm going to chain 2. So you chain 1, 2, and into the chain 2 space right here, you're going to put a double crochet. Then you're going to chain 1, 2, skip this double crochet right here, so you're finishing this leaf pattern, and you're going to double crochet into the next. So you skip 1 double crochet on the leaf pattern and double crochet into the next, chain 2, skip the next double crochet and double crochet into the chain 2 space, then 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 double crochet, 1 double crochet, chain 3, So a V-stitch into a V-stitch. So it's 1 double crochet, chain 3, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 double crochet, one double crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 2, skip 1 double crochet, chain 2, skip 1 double crochet and double crochet. So this is what you have so far. So you see you're finishing one leaf here and you're starting another one right here. So you're going to repeat chain 2, skip 1, all the way around until you get back to the beginning chain 2 space, the last chain 2 space before you get to the leaf pattern. So that will be the beginning leaf. And so I'll continue working on my piece and you go ahead and chain 2, skip 1 until you get to the last chain 2 space before the beginning chain. So I'm at my last chain 2 space before my beginning leaf. I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, skip this double crochet right here, and I'm going to double crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 2, 1, 2, skip the next double crochet and slip stitch. So we did 5 chain and you're going to slip stitch into the chain, the third chain. So basically chain 3. So what this chain 5 does, it gives you a double crochet and 2 chains. Okay, so we are on round 28. So for round 28 you're going to slip stitch. So you're going to slip stitch into the chain 2 space, but don't just slip stitch into the stitch. So you slip stitch into the stitches into the next, so it's 2 chains. You're going to slip stitch into the chain itself. So because it keeps your your double crochet, this chain 3 here, from moving, and it gets it also closer to the next double crochet. So when you slip stitch twice to get closer to your next double crochet, you're going to chain 3, and that's counted as your first double crochet. Then you're going to double crochet into the next 5 double crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have 6 double crochet right now. Then you're going to put a V stitch into the V stitch, one double crochet into the next, each of the next 5 double crochet, chain 2, skip 1 double crochet. Sorry, I see I have an extra stitch, so supposed to have, okay, so 1 double crochet into the next 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 double crochet into chain 2 space. So you're putting 1 double crochet into this chain 2 space, then you're going to chain 2, skip 1, so you skip this double crochet and double crochet into the next chain 2, skip 1, and you're going to repeat this to make your mesh stitch all the way till you get to the next chain 2 space before your leaf pattern, chaining 2 and doing your mesh stitch, skipping 1 to make your mesh stitch until you get to 1 space before your next leaf pattern. And I'll meet you back when I finish my chain mesh part and I'm about to get to the leaf pattern. So I'm 1 space away from my leaf. I'm going to make my chain 2 space by chaining 2, 1, 2. Going to skip the double crochet and double crochet into the chain 2 space, and you're going to put 1 double crochet into each of the next 5 double crochet, and then you're going to put a V stitch into the V stitch, 1 double crochet, chain 3, 2, 3. So that's a V stitch into the V stitch, and you're going to put 1 double crochet into each of the next 5 double crochet, then 1 double crochet into the chain 2 space. So you see we have another set of leaf is forming right here. Then you're going to chain 2, skip 1, and double crochet into the next, and you're going to repeat that until you get to the last chain 2 space before the next leaf. So go ahead and make your mesh chain 2, skip 1 until you get to the last space before the next leaf, and I'll meet you back when I finish my mesh. So we are coming up to the end of round 28. So we're going to join. So we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 to join. So I'm going to slip stitch. Oh boy, I keep losing. I don't know why it's giving me such a hard time to. Okay, so I slip stitch. So we finish round 28. So we are on round 29. So for round 29, you're going to slip stitch to the next double crochet. So slip stitch over, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Chain 3 is counted as your first double crochet, and you're going to double crochet in the next 4 double crochet, 1 double crochet into each of the next 4 stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, put 3 double crochet into the chain 3 space that is made by your V stitch. So you put 3 double crochet in there. So that's 2, 3, chain 2, skip 1 double crochet into each of the next 5 double crochet, 5 double crochet, chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1 double crochet and double crochet into the next, and you continue doing your mesh pattern until you get to the last chain 2 space before the leaf pattern. So you see you're finishing up here again another leaf pattern, and you start when you do a chain 3 into the space, you put into that chain 3 space from the V stitch, you're going and you start to put 3 double crochet into that space. You're starting a new leaf and ending up and ending one leaf. So every time you put 3 double crochet in one of this chain 3 space, you're starting a new leaf. So you go ahead and continue doing your mesh until you get to 1 space, chain 2 space before the leaf, and I'll meet you back when I finish my mesh. I'll meet you back there. So I'm 1 space away from my leaf pattern. Going to chain 2, 1, 2, going to double crochet into that space, then I'm going to chain 2, skip 1 double crochet, so I'm going to skip this one and double crochet into the next 5, each of the next 1 double crochet into each of the next 5 double crochet, 3, 4, 5. So you have your 5 double crochet, 1 double crochet into each stitch. You're going to chain 2, skip this double crochet and put 3 double crochet into the V stitch. Then you're going to chain 2, skip 1 double crochet and 1 double crochet into each of the next 5 double crochet. So you have your 5 double crochet. You're going to chain 2, skip 1 double crochet, so you skip the next double crochet and double crochet into the chain 2 space, and you're going to continue chain 2, skip 1, double crochet, making your mesh until you get to the beginning leaf pattern, 1 chain 2 space before the leaf pattern. So you're gonna do your mesh until you come back to the beginning, and I'll meet you back when you finish your mesh stitch and you're 1 stitch away, one space away from the beginning leaf. So I'm coming to the end of round 29, and I'm at my last chain 2 space. Going to chain 2, 1, 2. I'm going to DC into that chain 2 space, chain 2. I'm going to skip this DC stitch here, which will be the chain 3 from the previous round, and I'm going to slip stitch into the chain 3 to join. So here we go. So for round 30, slip stitch to the next double crochet like that, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, count as your first double crochet, and put 1 double crochet into the each of the next 2 double crochet. So you're finishing up another leaf. You're going to chain 2, 1, 2, skip this double crochet right here and put 1 double crochet into the chain 2 space, then 1 double crochet into the next double crochet, a V-stitch into the next double crochet, and a V-stitch is a double crochet, chain 3, double crochet into 1 stitch. Then you're going to put 1 double crochet into the next double crochet, 1 double crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 2, skip 1 double crochet and put 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 double crochet, chain 2, skip 1 double crochet, and you continue. So you're finishing up, you're out of the leaf pattern and you're going on to the mesh, and you're going to continue working your mesh stitch until you get to the next leaf pattern, 1 space, chain 2 space before the leaf pattern, and I'll meet you back. So continue making your mesh until you get to 1 space before the next leaf pattern, and I'll meet you back. So I'm 1 space away from my next leaf pattern. I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1 and double crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 2, skip 1 double crochet, and you're going to put 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 double crochet. So you have 3 double crochet. So you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1 double crochet and double crochet into the chain 2 space, 1 double crochet into the next double crochet, a V-stitch into the next stitch, one double crochet into the next double crochet, 1 double crochet into chain 2 space. So we have something that look like that. So you see 1 leaf is finishing here and a new one is starting right here. So you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, you're going to skip 1 double crochet. So you're skipping a double crochet on your leaf and 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 double crochet. So you see I put my 3 double crochet here. So I'm going to chain 2, skip 1, chain 2, skip 1 double crochet into the chain 2 space, and you're going to continue doing your mesh stitch until you get to 1 stitch, sorry guys, 1 space before your next leaf. So go ahead and make your mesh stitches, chain 2, skip 1, DC into the next space until you get to 1 space before the next leaf, and I'll meet you back, and that will be your ending leaf. And I'll meet you back before you slip stitch to join round 30. So I'm 1 space away from my leaf pattern. I chain 2. I'm going to double crochet into that chain 2 space, chain 2, and I'm going to skip this one and slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. to join. So you finish round 30, you're on round 31. So on round 31, you're going to slip stitch to the next double crochet, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and your chain 5 is counted as 1 double crochet and a chain 2 space. You're going to skip this double crochet right here and put 1 double crochet into the chain 2 space, and then 1 double crochet into each of these 3 double crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3. Into the chain 3 space of your V-stitch, you're going to put a V-stitch. So V-stitch into a V-stitch. 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 double crochet. That's 1, 2, 3. Chain 2, 1, 2. Skip 1 double crochet. Sorry guys, I missed one. So after you finish doing your 3 double crochet, you're going to put 1 double crochet into the chain 2 space, then you chain 2, skip 1 and put 1 double crochet into the next, chain 2, skip the next one and put 1 double crochet into the chain 2 space. So you're going to do your mesh stitch by chaining 2, skipping 1, double crochet into the chain 2 space, all the way until you get to 1 chain 2 space before the next leaf. So I'm going to finish that and we'll reach up back when you get to 1 space before your next leaf. So I'm 1 space, chain 2 space away from my leaf pattern. I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, double crochet into that chain 2 space, chain 2, 1, 2, skip the next double crochet and double crochet into the next, chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1 double crochet and double crochet into the chain 2 space, and then 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 double crochet. So that's 2, 3, V-stitch into V-stitch, so double crochet, chain 3, a double crochet into the same space. So then you put 1 double crochet into each of the next 3 double crochet. So you have your 3 double crochet, 1 double crochet into chain 2 space, chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1 double crochet and double crochet into the next, chain 2, skip 1 double crochet and double crochet into the next chain 2 space. So you're going to continue your mesh stitch until you get to 1 space before your leaf pattern, and I'll reach you back when you get to 1 space before your leaf pattern. So go ahead and work your mesh stitch, and this is row 31. So I'm coming to the end of row 31, and at my last chain 2 space, I'm going to chain 2, 1 double crochet into the chain 2 space, chain 2, skip this double crochet here and slip stitch into the 3rd chain in your chain 5 that you did. So you did 5 chain, and this 5 chain is counted as a double crochet and 2 chains. So you're going to slip stitch in the top of the chain 3. In round 32, you're going to slip stitch into the chain 2 space. So 1, 2, you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's your first double crochet, and you're going to put 1 double crochet into each of the next 5 double crochet. So you put 1 double crochet into each of the next 5 double crochet, then you do a V-stitch into V-stitch, then 1 double crochet into each of the next 5 double crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 1 double crochet into chain 2 space, then you're going to chain 2 and you're going to work your mesh stitch until you get to 1 chain 2 space before your next leaf. And I'll meet you back when I finish my mesh stitch and I'm 1 stitch away, chain 2 space away from my leaf pattern. So I'm 1 space away from my leaf pattern. I'm going to chain 2, and this is row 32, chain 2, skip 1 DC, put 1 double crochet into the chain 2 space, and 1 double crochet into each of the next 5 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. V-stitch into V-stitch. I got a knot in my yarn, okay. 1 double crochet into the next, each of the next 5 double crochet. One double crochet into chain 2 space, chain 2, skip 1, and you do your mesh stitch. Chain 2, skip 1 until you get to the last chain 2 space before your leaf pattern, and I'll meet you back when you finish, when I'm finished those wrong. I'll reach you back at my last chain 2 space before the leaf. So I'm 1 space, chain 2 space away from my leaf. I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to slip stitch into the top of my chain 3 space. Not space, sorry, my chain 3. Slip stitch in the top of a chain 3. Okay. So this was the end of round 32. So we are at round 33. For round 33, we're going to stop doing the leaf pattern. So for round 33, we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this chain 5 is counted as a double crochet and a chain 2 space. So we're going to do just chain 2 spaces, skip 1, DC, chain 2, skip 1, DC. So we're going to make just mesh stitch on round 33. Okay, so I did 5 chains, and that's my first double crochet and chain 2 space. I'm going to chain 2, skip 1, and double crochet in the next. Chain 2, skip 1, and double crochet in the next. Chain 2, and when you get to the chain 3, you're going to put 1 double crochet in there, and you're going to continue just chaining 2, skipping 1 until you get all the way around to your beginning, back to the chain 5, and then so you go ahead and continue doing your mesh stitches. We're not doing any more leaf pattern here. So, and I'll meet you back at the end. When you get to the end of the rung, I'll meet you back before you slip stitch to join, or before you put a double crochet. So continue doing your mesh stitches, and I'll meet you back at the end. So I'm at the end of round 33, and I'm at my last chain 2 space here. So instead of chaining 2 and slip stitch into the chain 3 of the chain 5 of the 5 chains, I'm going to do a double crochet into the chain 3. And what happened, this chain, when you do a double crochet, it puts you at the top of the row. So if you can see that, let me zoom in a little bit so you can see here. I did a double crochet here, and it takes so it will be easy for me to do the next row, and that's row 34. And for row 34, you repeat row 33. So you chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, and you're going to do your spaces again. So chain 2, so you did 5 chain, and then you're going to double crochet, skip 1 double crochet, and double crochet in the next chain 2 space, and then you chain 2, double crochet in the next chain 2 space, and you do that all the way around until you get back to the beginning chain 5 space. You chain 5, so continue doing your mesh stitch, chain 2, double crochet into the next chain 2 space. I must apologize because I was going through this pattern today, and for some reason it seemed like I made a mistake on the rows. So instead, in the pattern, instead of row 33, I put row 32 again. So I have to delete the pattern and upload it again. There's a discrepancy with just the numbers, the rows. So when you reach the rung 32, you do rung 33, and then rung 34, you repeat rung 33. Okay? And for rung 34 should be rung 35 in the pattern. So I must apologize. I'm sorry. So far I have changed it on my Etsy shop. And thank you for your understanding. If you do need a revised copy, just email me and let me know. So to end rung 34, you're at your last chain 2 space. So you're going to chain 2, double crochet into the chain 2 space. Then you're going to join, you're going to chain 2, skip the double crochet, and you're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3. You did 5 chain at the beginning, you're going to count up 3 and then slip stitch to join. If you want to make your mesh part longer, you can just repeat row 33 as many times as you would like. So, but this row is round 35 and we are at our last round of this poncho. So we're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip 1 DC. And DC into the next chain 2 space. So sorry, so when you finish to join row 34, you should do the double crochet. I missed that step. Instead of chaining 2, just double crochet into the chain 3 space. Because what happened, like I showed you before, it takes you right in the middle, right here, like that. So you see right here, it takes you right at where you need to go, in the middle of that double chain 2 space. Okay, then you're going to chain 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're going to chain 5 and skip 1 double crochet and double crochet into the next chain 2 space, and you're going to chain 2, skip 1, DC, and you're going to repeat that, making a mesh stitch until you reach back to the beginning chain 5. And then this is your last round, and it's round 35, unless you repeat round 33 more times, then you will have more rows. So for me, round 35, and I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 to fasten off. So go ahead and repeat your mesh stitch by crocheting 2 chain, skip 1 DC, and DC in the next chain 2 space. Okay, and I'll meet you back at the end of round 35. So I'm at my last round, round 35. If you're following along with me in the pattern, and you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and slip stitch into the third of the 5 chains. So you count off 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch into the third chain. And this is our last row, and you're going to fasten off. Cut your yarn, and we're going to weave in ends. We have, if you join any other color, you know you have to weave in those ends. If you continue with the same color, you should only have 2 ends, the beginning end and the end of your poncho. So you're going to weave in those ends, making sure you know you don't weave it in properly, however you weave it. Sometimes the yarn split and you gotta just thread your needle again. And if you cut your yarn too short like I did, you just put the needle in and then weave in your end of your yarn. Okay, so you do that. That is so. I hope you enjoy this pattern, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you are interested in this pattern, it's available in my Etsy shop. I'll leave the link below. So remember when we did our chainless foundation double crochet, we had a split here. So what we're going to do, we're going to close it up. So I'm going to put my needle into the stitch, and I'm going to thread the end of my needle through, and I'm going to pull it through to close up the top of my poncho. Then I'm going to weave it in there to close it off. Okay, I'm going to weave it all the way through to close it up. And I'm going to go back this way and take it back this way. And then if it have any left back after I finish weaving in the ends, I'm going to cut it off. So there you go, weaving the ends, and I'm going to cut this off. Okay, so this is my poncho. I did a few extra rows, so my poncho is a bit longer. So you see, I'm going to take some pictures, and thank you. Until next time, goodbye.